Hey guys, I'm Shay, and today I'm going to be reviewing the third and final book in the Splintered Trilogy by A.G. Howard, Ensnared. I need to go cry for a second. So with this being the third book in the series, there are obviously going to be spoilers in this review, so if you haven't yet read any of them, then don't watch this. Go away, or just shoot. So a quick overview of the trilogy. It's about this girl, Alyssa Gardner, who's the great-great-great-granddaughter of Alice Liddell, and she goes to Wonderland to fix some things and finds out that she's actually the new Red Queen, and so to be the new Red Queen she has to defeat the old Red Queen, who's basically just wreaked havoc and is trying to just, rule Wonderland with an iron fist. And so there's a love triangle. There's Morpheus, who's from Wonderland, and then there's Jeb, he's been her best friend since they were really little, and now obviously they're teenagers, and well, you know that story, how that all works out. If you want to know about the first two, you can actually, I'll put a link for my review for the first two down below. I'm warning you, it's not very good because it was my first video, so just putting that out there. So at the end of Unhinged, Alyssa was basically defeated by the Red Queen, who took Jeb and Morpheus with her to Any Elsewhere, which is supposed to be kind of like the Looking Glass land. It's not part of Wonderland, it's like a whole different world. It's basically a land for Wonderland rejects. So Jeb and Morpheus are now stuck there with the Red Queen. Not only that, but Alyssa's mother was taken to Wonderland, and all of the portals from Earth to Wonderland have been destroyed. So now it's up to Alyssa and her dad, actually, who has his whole own backstory, which is just crazy and ridiculous. They have to go to Any Elsewhere, which has the only known portal now to Wonderland, and not only are they going there to get to Wonderland, but they have to get there to rescue Jeb and Morpheus. So once they get to Any Elsewhere, they immediately meet up with Morpheus, who seems to be doing okay. So because of something that happened in Unhinged, Jeb is pretty mad at Alyssa, and so when she finally finds him in Any Elsewhere, he doesn't want really anything to do with her. But it's really cool. He's kind of become his own magic netherling creature, because he now has Red's and Morpheus's magic in him. And so what he can do is he paints, and so now he can basically bring his paintings to life. So he can create creatures and places and a whole lot of really cool, really creepy things, though, because like all of his creations have a morbid side to them, because he's just so angry with everything that's been going on that he just can't create happy things. And so, for instance, on the cover, like I said, this whole thing is a spoiler, so bear with me. On the cover, this is, I don't know if they meant for it to be Jeb or if they meant for it to be his carbon copy CC that he created, who actually, well, they didn't put the whole morbid truth on the front because CC actually has this eye right here. He has an eyeball sticking out of a gap in his face. But yeah, so that's what Jeb can do now. So not only is Alyssa and Morpheus powerful, but now Jeb is powerful too, which is, I thought that was kind of a cool twist. He's not just the weak human throughout the whole story. He actually is able to really do something in this last book. So while Alyssa's dad's goal is just to get to Wonderland, pretty much, Alyssa has ulterior motives. She needs to destroy Red in order to not only save Wonderland, but be able to rule as Queen Red herself over Wonderland. It's cool because we meet some really creepy, weird, twisted characters in this one, like these really giant bat creatures, and the Queen of Hearts, actually, who's not Queen Red. They're two separate queens, which I never knew. And then you also learn Queen Red's backstory, and you almost want to sympathize with her, even though she's the bad guy and she's awful. But I think that's what makes really good villains, is that you can sympathize with them. Like, there's a reason that they're evil. It's not just they weren't just born evil. It's something happened to them that made them be like this. And so it's really cool to kind of learn her backstory, and you almost feel bad for her, but at the same time you really don't, because of everything that she's done and all the crap that she's caused in Wonderland. I really like how this love triangle was played out. There's always, going to be half the readers that are really upset because their team didn't happen, I guess. But without saying a whole bunch or too much, which I guess it's kind of already too late for that, but without completely spoiling everything, I really feel like this love triangle ended very satisfactorily. That's not a word. I was really satisfied with how the love triangle played out. I like both characters too much to really want one over the other, so I'm just really glad how it all turned out. There aren't that many trilogy, like last books in a trilogy that I've really been happy with, but I'm super happy with how this whole trilogy ended. I think that it just ended on in a really good spot, and I really liked how everything, even from the first book throughout all three, they just kind of, all the like the twists and the different little things that happened really like wove together to make this last book really make sense. And really there wasn't anything at the end where I was like, well, what about this part, what about this part? Like everything came to a close really, really well, and I think that's what makes just like a really great trilogy. There's nothing left hanging in the air, there's no questions that are left unanswered. It was just a great conclusion, and yeah, great conclusions are great. So again, I couldn't get over it's just mind-boggling A.G. Howard's just writing. It's like ridiculous. I think I was up till 4 o'clock last night trying to finish this book, and I mean there were parts that like I've said before, I've only ever cried while reading one book. That's because I am a cold, heartless person, and I'm sorry, but I think this is the closest I've ever been to actually like crying during a book. I didn't cry, but I was really close to it. And so I mean that's saying something. Like, I don't know, there were just so many parts that were just so emotional, and like it made me want to just like scream or cry, or like it just made my heart hurt. And I think that's what makes a really great story, is that it can evoke such emotions in the reader. It really makes you sympathize with the characters and really kind of understand their motives and what they're trying to deal with, and maybe even why they're acting the way they are. And there really weren't any characters that I didn't like. I mean, aside from if we were supposed to not like them, then that, you know, I didn't like them. But there weren't any where I thought that they were like weak or not well done or underdeveloped, or, you know, just, and I think that's also really cool, because with any world, you want all of the characters, even the secondary characters, you want them to feel real to you. And if they don't feel real, and if there's something about them that just doesn't make sense, then that just makes for a bad story. And so I'm really glad that wasn't the case with this book. One reason it's my favorite is because it's Alice in Wonderland, and it's a different take and a darker take on it. But it's also just the fact that the writing is so good. Like, I don't even know. It's just amazing! I mean, even the dialogue, obviously the dialogue between the humans is going to be pretty normal, the way that humans talk, but there are so many creatures that just have their own weird way of talking, and it was just really clever and really genius how she was just able to change the writing so easily between all the different characters. I don't know, maybe she did struggle with it, or maybe it was something that took a really long time for her to figure out, but I mean, the end product is awesome, so obviously she was successful with that. Having just read it last night, I do still feel kind of jumbled, so I'm sorry if maybe this review isn't as in-depth or whatever as other reviews of the book, but I don't know, I couldn't wait to tell you guys about it, so I had to do this video. And like I said, I was so excited for these books, and I'm so, like, I'm sad, I'm kind of in mourning, but at the same time I just feel so satisfied with the ending that it's like, I'm not sad, it's just really exciting that it ended so well. So I don't think it would have been a good idea for it to continue. I think where it ended is absolutely perfect for where the story should have just stopped. And now it's like there was an epilogue, and so it kind of told you everything that happens later on. And I think that was also just a really good closer, because, you know, there's the thing with having questions that go unanswered at the end. I mean, they were answered, and so what more could you really ask for? So there you go. There's my erratic, sloppy review of this last book, which definitely deserves a much better review, but like I said, I just couldn't wait to share it with you guys, and I just really hope that you enjoy it as much as I did. This whole series has been just absolutely incredible, and they just look so pretty together. Oh my gosh. Okay, so there you go. I need to talk about this cover. This cover is beautiful, and I just love how well they go together. And I also love that, again, Jeb isn't just a human boy on the front. They really, A.G. Howard and her designer really just made him look very Netherling-ish, which is awesome. And I just think together, all three of these books look fantastic together. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a better looking series. So there you go. Alright, that's it for this review, so I hope you guys have a great night, and I'll see you next time. My nose itches! Basically, and where was I doing with this? And